Hello everybody, welcome back to another Limbus Company video. So coming off from last time, we were theory crafting with the leaked kits on Monday about the new Heishou HeathCliff and Don Quixote IDs. Following up with that, as promised, we are going to go from theory crafting to now actual kit analysis, and if they are worth the poll. Starting off with going into battle is HeathCliff. HeathCliff has the same coins as before, they haven't changed. Alright, nothing like that has changed. But as we look into it, some major differences we see from the original kit reveal to his actual ID is we were thinking it was going to apply like a nice amount of burn. All it is one burn count, and his conditional for the 10 burn on self is a little bit of a work to get towards, because you know at the end of turn end, right, you know your burn, the burn count goes away, so you lose it, right? So it's a lot more difficult to reach his conditionals than what was estimated beforehand. Once again, very clash negative on the rupture count. But going into the end of season here, playing Heishou isn't more about rupture, it is about rotating the Heishous out, or the Heishou out. Still trying to pick which word works. It would be, if you roll heads, it would just be -2 on the rupture count. It's not too bad. Not the absolute worst, especially if you're rotating the Heishou around. Same conditionals going into skill 2. Lots of damage from skill 2 though. As you see, it is once again very count negative, but once again, as you see, he instead fulfills a different conditional. Instead of worrying about the negatives as rupture applies, it is the burn damage that he applies from himself, because he'll multiply the damage and then it'll take a percentage of the coin's final damage, right, as rest damage. So if you have the maximum burn, right, if you have 10 burn, right, and you get the 20% for it, you deal an additional 20% on coin 3, and then with Blood Flame, or if you have less than 50% HP, it will reuse the coin again, so you can get another instance off. It's a really good skill 2, and it goes a lot for a lot of the Heishous because they have really good skill 2s, but I do agree that this is a really good one. Now, of course, the basic skill 3, right, as you see, Blood Flame Massacre, 3 attack wave, unfocused volley, so you're free balling it immediately with anything you hit. Once again, it's got a very nice conditional. If you have Blood Flame or have less than 50% HP, which hopefully with HeathCliff is what you're trying to achieve, you get unbreakable coins. And then with Battle Blood Instinct, you know, more damage, haste. We'll explain in a moment how to get Battle Blood Instinct. It's a really fun way to play HeathCliff. He'll switch his skill 3 out for his skill 3-2, which is Rooster's Rampaging Blades under the Insanguined Heaven instead. Similar to all other Heishous, you gain all 3 of your stacks for your unique level up, which is Blood Flame, and then the same normal conditionals. Now, after the attack, you gain 2 burn count. So in return, he does, if you do use it early, he does retain burn count. And then he also burns himself. So it is ideally, you can use skill 3 whenever, because that's how you'll fulfill any other coin conditional. And then he'll forcefully lower his own HP. If he has 50% HP or higher, he will take burn damage by himself. What it does imply though is it won't lower his count. From testing, it didn't really lower his count when it did it, so you get away with applying burn on yourself and the target while also ticking off yourself. Now, in the end, his base skill 3 is only -1 rupture count. Only -1. Really good. Really good. Now, of course, going into it, the fun one, you know, the one everyone saw in the trailer and went, wow, this guy's crazy, you know, broken, right? When you use this one, right, it drops the conditional for the his burn on himself, and instead does it for his missing HP. Because by the time you use this, you should have so low of HP normally in combat. You gain 10 burn, you'll consume all Battle Blood Instinct. So similar to like a charge unit, you'll consume everything you have for this move. And then if you have more than 20 burn, it will consume the extra amount to heal your HP. So if you have 25 excess burn, right? As you see right here, you 25 times 2, you'll heal 50% of your HP. Really good. This would make it +1, 0, -1, -2. As you see, count-wise, if you're trying to be count-wise, the basic skill 3 is better. But I will say this, the skill 3-2 does so much more in conditional amount because of the reuses it gets. Because that is 5 coins. Alright, that's 5. That's 5 coins with the reuse. And it will attack everything. And it will also heal. Re-heal him just a little bit. Not by a lot compared to, like, you know, this one, the after attack one. But you'll get some HP back. Really nice. Defense skill works just like every other Heishou unit. You gain, you know, your branch stack, which is the blood flame for the U branch. You get the conditionals for, you know, more coin power and base power. His unique one is more damage if you got HP losing, so you can get 30% more HP. Not 30%. I got 30% more damage, which just means if you got, let's see, 99% HP missing or something. Pretty sure it's like 99% of his HP gone, you get that. But it does reclaim his burn count, which is really good. So you're gonna be spamming a lot of skill 2s and defenses and skill 3s is what the game wants you to do. Once again, this one actually I believe puts you at -1 rupture count if you even care. Let's talk passives though. Look, I think most people have come to accept most of the Heishous are going to be count negative after the disaster that was Malfaust breaking in the meta a while ago. So he's got a unique bolus effect for Hong Lu, which allows Hong Lu to deal 5% of the gluttony damage would be dealt as wrath damage. So we're trying to see a split in sin affinities in testing, and with that, if you've been noticing with a lot of the new units, they've been testing ways to basically split up and mash up sin affinities and skill typings. You're going to see that once again when we get to the Don Quixote Heishou ID with her unique mechanics. Once again, we see the thing hasn't changed from the original kit reveal. He will not stagger or die from burn damage. Now, I don't know if it's only once per battle or if it's any time because of his mechanic. They did give him something to make him useful if you sub him in instead, which is he gets the 3 stacks of blood flame and 3 count, which basically means for 2 turns you can build up his coin power pretty quickly. Here we go. Yeah, see here. When you take unit damage, right? So here's the difference. So, you know, burn will never kill him, right? Burn will never kill him. But if he does, you know, lose a clash at 1 HP, it will nullify the damage, and it would automatically heal. and remove all stacks. So you really want him to be on the offense and never really lose a clash. And I think that perfectly reflects the U branch on how they attack. They're definitely heavy hitters. They come in, strike, and come out of combat pretty quick. His on-field passive is beautiful, so we can actually finally talk about Balblood Instinct in a moment. As you see, combat start, you gain 1 offensive level and 1 defensive level for 20% HP missing. I mean, it's alright. It's 1 free clash and 1 free defense when you max it out. So if you have 60% HP missing, right, you get 1 additional coin power. Well, not coin power, but clash power. Way 2 different things. So you get like an additional +1 to your rolls, basically. Now, Battle Blood. I know we touched it for a moment. It's basically more damage for the stack, right? But to maximize how much you get from it, you gain 3 automatically at the clash start, right? But you can gain an additional 1 when you hit with a base skill or take burn damage. And if you have less than 50% HP, you get more Battle Blood. And then you gain 5 on kill. So if you make him your like executor, you'll get about 8 a turn basically. So I'm gonna scroll back down. You get about you get 8. Yeah, you get 3 at clash start. If you kill them, that makes it 8. And then you'd get 2 extra ones for that, for attacking with the skills. Pretty good. It's pretty good. So once again, it plays really into that you can build into the maximum damage output he needs within 3 turns or less to get going. Now, of course, when he is benched, he has an incredible passive still. I think it's an incredible passive as well for anyone that wants to do a solo run and are looking for a Heathcliff, because I know Heathcliff notoriously doesn't have the greatest passives for benching in a MDE run. But this one's really good. As you see, if an ally with the lowest current HP percentage has less than 50% HP, you gain a clash power-up next turn. Which is really good, especially in later fours, because, you're not going to be clashing first turn a lot later on, especially after like floor 11. It definitely goes downhill from there. But in return, now it gives you an additional free clash up in that next turn, which I think is pretty fair. He's got the same sanity. He's got no unique sanity effects as well. It pretty much really good for content, and I think ideally he is a good starter unit in the Heishou pack lineup. Now moving forth, we'll be talking about Don Quixote. Now, rolling into combat is the Don Quixote Wei Branch Heishou Pack ID. This will mark as Don Quixote's 2nd ever sinking ID, and funny enough, her 2nd ever rupture and sinking ID in the same kit. First coming from the Don Quixote in the name of love and hate, from 2 Walpurgis Knots ago. I got a very faint memory with the Walpurgis Knots. Yeah, because this last one that just happened was General Reception. My bad. Once again, no major changes, but she really does specialize in her Shattermark debuff that we'll be talking about. As you see in the first skill right here with her coins, 2 coins, blunt, which is really good because a lot of the Heishou pack are not blunt units, so it gives definitely a variety to her kit. If they have a target of Shattermark, it deals 25% more damage. Now let's take a quick look at Shattermark here. As you see, take 10% more damage from Gluttony and Gloom skills. They're definitely improving from what they were doing with the Parade Mersault from the Botcac event for Murder on the Warp Train. By introducing unique debuffs on the enemy. Her most unique mechanic with this is it changes the panic type to Shattermark, which will reduce units without SP, so like abnormality bosses, right, having negative clash power by 1. And it reduces the stack by 1. It's not cumulative, so you can't keep it going. You would have to replace the effect each time you inflict it. So you see? And then if they have but if they have SP, right, but they can't change it, like Don Beck and other characters like that, where it, like, they literally stagger upon negative 45 sanity, they'll of course follow the units without SP stereotype, which is a -1 in clash power. Now, of course, it's pretty good against normal NPCs as well, because in low morale, it's clash power -1 and defense level -2 on self. And if they are in panic, so that's, you know, -45, right? Lowers their clash power by 2 whole clash power. That is really good. And then another defense level -3, which for like for people that want to know offsetting, that would lower their power by 1 on their defense skill. So it makes it really good to hit stuff on the enemy. Really good debuffer. We were needing, personally, I think for the Heishou pack, we were needing a support. And I say support because that's really what it is. A lot of the Heishou have lots of damage, and we have like 2 Heishou pack units that, you know, have support utilities. One that being Wei Sang and his concussion, which improves rupture potency, especially overall with how Heishou work and how much he eats at it. And then now we have the Don Quixote ID. So let's actually get into it. She has only 1 conditional on her skill 1, and it's for rupture and sinking on the target. You only get 2 coin power. Pretty low. So if it, as soon as the target has like 12 rupture, you're getting a lot out of it. Now, what I will say is she is actually neutral in skill 1, which has been a while since we've seen a character that's actually, I think, neutral. Or I'm actually tweaking here. I'm actually bugging. My bad. Actually, she's only -1. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, because, you know, when you attack, it replaces the coin count here, so, you know, it's 0, and then there's no count. So it's -1, which actually isn't bad. It's not horrible. I actually think it's pretty good. That's only -1. Nothing too detrimental, just like Heathcliff's is. Going to skill 2. Here's where we start getting a lot of crazy stuff. So, same basic conditional for coin power, but now they're Burgeoning of Horns, which is her branch's unique status affliction upon herself that she gives. It converts the last coin into unbreakable coins if you have any stack. Not the max stack, if you have just 1 free unbreakable coin given to your character. That's really good. I don't think that is the weirdest infliction of what she does, but it is implied that you want to go for, you know, all 3 stacks, because you get 15% more damage for having all 3 stacks, because it's, you know, 5 times 3, 15%. Rupture count wise, it's 0, -1, -2. That's okay. Sinking count, you see a similar thing, it's -2. Once again, that's alright. Pretty much it's just a mix mash of sinking and rupture at the same time. Now, I will point out, as you see here, as we were talking earlier, they are trying to introduce like a hybrid affinity with damage. And that's, as you see, deals slash damage equal to 10% of this coin's final damage for every Burgeoning Horn stack. So once again, is implying that you want the 3 stacks, because that's 15% here for every coin does 15%, and it would be 45% on the 3rd hit, which is really, really nice. So you'd get 30% damage and slash here for the 3 stacks, and then you'd get an additional 15% in total for the entirety of the skill 3 hit. Not horrible. It's really good. It's a really good skill too. Makes up for, I would say, probably a lack of what goes on skill 1. The fun stuff definitely is skill 3. No skill 3-2, and I'm pretty sure that's just because she's not an adept branch unit. But she has the same conditional, right? And in the combat start, same idea here. But instead of just one last coin, it's all of her coins become unbreakable. And you get the 30% instead of 15%. Now, of course, same thing. If you don't have the Brigading of Horns, you gain all 3 Brigading Horns upon use of the skill. As you see, there's nothing on the coin 1. Nothing's being applied on coin 1, but that's actually fine in her case. Because that would be -1, and then it would be 0 plus 1. So she actually goes positive, neutral, then -1. I think that is probably one of the best skill 3s out of the recent Heishou pack units we've seen in utilization for rupture count. If you're going to play like that, I think she would be good if you're trying to maintain rupture. But once again, I think personally she works better as a unit that you swap in, because on swap in you'll get the unbreakable coins on start on the main target you're attacking. As you see, if the target has any panic attack changing effects, more damage. And then even more damage for if they have Shatter Mark. And then even more damage. Oh well. Okay, it's hard to explain this. Really good on sinking. Like, she is, I think, probably one of the best count demons for sinking, as you see. But what her damage is that you can get 50% slash damage on a target with Shatter Mark, which is pretty good because who doesn't like doing more damage? Alright. Especially because it'd be blunt and slash, which are, I think, one of the 2 most common resistances the enemy have in the game, making her like a really good unit to support in. Unfortunately, as we're talking here, getting, especially if you look here, right, pretty simple. Does go into a -2, so you'd be using it maybe like once in a battle. She definitely has an issue of trying to get Shatter Mark off. That's her only issue, and that's just because I think once again they had to balance it, especially when you have Echoes of the Manor. Now I will say this though, her passive is crazy. When given to, Hong Lu and you use the bolus, right? Hong Lu can inflict sinking upon with his rupture. And who doesn't like making clashes easier for themselves? I know I do. So it's a really good bolus contamination effect, alright? Of course, you get if you're substituted or returned in, you get the 3 coins, which is really good because you automatically get the unbreakable coins for it, right? Really good. Now here's the thing. When you're using her on-field effect, she'll deal more damage to targets at 0 SP. It's broken. And even more damage as well against Rupture. And it will double the effect against targets without SP. She is, like, similar to all the other Heishou pack that you would be rotating in. You drop her in the field, you're trying to burst the opponent down in like 3 hits and then rotate her out. And you get an additional 15% damage on top of that with your base skills for just having that. And if you attack a defense slot, yeah, more damage. Who doesn't like more damage? You see this? Are you seeing how many stats you can stack by just having her focus down someone, that is really good. And in the clashable guards, more clash power. Look, if you're looking for like a unit to like start off like a new account with, or you're a new player and you're looking for what's a good banner because you missed Walpurgisnacht or something, this, I'm telling you, this banner will have characters for you that will clear story and content for you while making life a little bit more easier. Then her off-field makes it where if you tag something with roster count or sinking count, you inflict defense level down. Isn't that pretty? That's beautiful to look at. Personally, I think that is very beautiful. Though it is only 2 defense level down, that is really, really nice. Because it just gives your characters an extra edge, especially when you're using defense level ups against other defense skills. When you look at our Sandy, you know, no unique Sandy type. But there. I think in conclusion, I think both of the Heishou pack IDs are worth pulling and worth using. And honestly, if you've got a new account, I say go for it. Now, of course, I will always preface and say that these are shardable at the end of next week on Wednesday. And then going into Thursday, if you wake up, they will be shardable and shardable until season end, which is December 31st. If you want to play with the IDs, I know there's plenty of community hubs on like Discord, Reddit, Twitter, who will have their ticket ID, and you could easily play with their IDs and get a feel with them on your team and how they work. But overall, I think they pair really nicely to the Heishou pack and are great additions to them. In the next video, I'll be showing you how you clear the new Refraction Railway 1 bot hack event, and also talking about some silly mechanics that happen within it, because God forbid there's a lot of silly mechanics. Now, until then, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, please like, please leave a comment. It'd be very nice.